Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today I'm going to show you how to make ephemera for junk journals out of tea bags. Now, I'm going to link this exact product in the description box below the video. These are tea bags, and they're just a natural little see-through fibrous material. It's a paper material, and you buy them to put your loose leaf tea in, and then you can close them up like this and then use them as tea bags. Now, in junk journal world, these have been around for a little while. Lots of people have done videos showing you how to make ephemera out of them. I have a couple of different ideas today, so stay tuned. We are going to decorate and do all of the ephemera from start to finish. But the main part of today's video is using these tea bags. Now, if you do not have these tea bags and you don't want to buy the tea bags, they're like $6 on Amazon. That's what I'm linking below. If you don't want to buy the tea bags, perhaps you have some natural colored craft tissue paper or another thin type of brown material like this. Maybe it's white and you coffee dye or tea dye it. You could use even the tea bag that you make your tea with and open it up carefully after you've used it, and it would probably be dyed this color. So anyway, there's lots of other options. I don't think that the tea bags are the end all be all. I would prefer to use my natural colored craft tissue paper for this project, but tea bags, there's like a million videos. It's like super popular. I'm just showing you my take on it. Let's go ahead and get started. So anyway, tea bag ephemera. I've showed you the tea bag. It does have a string in it. All you want to do to make your ephemera today is you're going to open up these tea bags. And so I just pull them along the seams kind of carefully, just for that torn edge. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly straight, but you want to open up and separate your tea bag into two pieces, right? Because you just want a single layer. Now, I'm going to have a bunch of ideas in this video, so please make sure you watch all the way to the end because there's probably 5 or 10 ideas in here. But anyway, the first one starts with separating tea bags. I'm going to do that again. Just find one of the seams right here, pull it apart and do it gently. If you try to do it too fast, it's going to rip all wonky, like this one ripped a little wonky. Don't care about that. That's fine. So, and then you see that the string is sewn into one side of the tea bag. That's fine. Just leave it in. One half will have the string, one half won't have the string. No big deal. We don't care about it. I'm going to leave the string in because yes, you could use that to tie off little beads or ephemera or a charm or a paper charm or whatever. So it's there. I'm going to leave it. So that's basically tea bags. And the one I'm linking below, again, it's 200 for like $5.99 or something. So once you have your tea bags separated, you're going to take them, and you guessed it, we're going to do some stamping on them. Now, I have a million that I've stamped off in the background, and I will show you all of those too. But I did save some for us to do together. So I'm going to stamp this little girl. And she, I'll show you the stamps, and I'll link the stamps that I'm using below too, but I'll show you. So we're going to ink her up, and I am inking in Scorched Timber. So Scorched Timber is my favorite color of ink to stamp in. It is the perfect antique black brown. It really looks like old ink. And so there she is. So when you stamp on these, you'll notice that you're not getting a crisp image. It's because the tissue, it's kind of like a coffee filter kind of material, and it is a little fibrous, and that's kind of the look we're going for. We're not looking for, if you stamped this out onto paper, you would have a very defined image. That wasn't a great stamp, but you'll have a very defined image. And you can see on the tea bag, it's just a little more vintage of an image. There's little hits and misses in the stamped image. That's what we're looking for. So we're going to stamp out a couple of different images. Actually, we're just going to move on, and I'm going to show you the ones I already stamped because I don't want to take forever in this video. So we have one of these little girls, and I have stamped ahead a whole big bunch of things. So we're going to quickly go through them. Rather than me stamping them, I'm just going to show you the little girl. These were some sewing images from Tim Holtz stamps. This is also Tim Holtz. And so you can see there's dress forms. These are all Tim Holtz stamps. The Eiffel Tower is Tim Holtz, and there's several of those. So we're going to make fully decorated ephemera. These are also Tim Holtz images. The roses are Tim Holtz. So you could do focal points, or you could do backgrounds. And so the rest of these, I've done backgrounds, and I'm going to show you how to use the backgroundy images and the focal points. And the rest of these are these little documents. Here's one where I did the little girl and a background, and these are just backgrounds. So I'll go through the stamps here quickly because I know you guys will ask. So let me just show them, and hopefully that clears up some of the questions quick. So here's the stamps I used. Again, this is not a sales video. I'm just showing you. It's Carabelle Studio, the little girl there. This is a Carabelle Studio background. I didn't end up using that one, but it's there. And then this is the one where the Eiffel Tower came from. Okay. Then we have the one where the rose came from. There's that one. Here's the farm stamp, and that had the ledger over here. This one right here, I used this image, French Marketplace. And this, this is the sewing one. So Attic Treasures. Had the dress form, the butterflies, lots of those. Okay, so there's that. Answered a lot of questions. Let's get on to what do you do with, once you have all your tea bag images, what do you do with them? So let's get on to that part. First of all, you could just use these as little pockets. And so idea number one is you don't separate a tea bag, you leave it as a whole tea bag. And so it's got a little pocket down the center. So this is what it looks like without being stamped. So idea number one is you just use it as a pocket. You can stamp an image on, like I really like stamping this one on the tea bags. And then you just put your tag, like here's a little coffee dyed tag. You could just put it in right like that. Now you could put this whole tea bag on a belly band and have it be a pocket on a belly band. You could glue the back side of it to just a journal page and have it be a pocket on a journal page. A million places to put it, but you would just glue down the back side without your tag in it. It might be a little bit tricky because you don't want the glue to seep through. So you might have to use like a tape roller adhesive type thing or something like that. But there's many ways of doing it. It works just fine. I've done it before. So there's one idea, which is just a pocket and a tag just from the actual tea bag. No real embellishing or decorating needed, but you could if you wanted. So there's one. The other idea I have, and we're going to get back to these here in a second, is making your tea bags into roses and yo-yos. So if you take the tea bag, just as it comes, don't separate it, you can roll it into a tea bag and a yo-yo. So like an old quilt yo-yo, and I'll show you those. So you're just going to take your tea bag, open it up with your fingers like this, just kind of put your fingers inside, and you're just going to start rolling, scrunching. And so you want your fingers to be all the way down here at the bottom, right? So I'm just kind of scrunching it up onto my fingers, and I'm going to tuck in these corners. I'm just going to take them and tuck them in, tuck in that corner right there. And that's just so that the corners don't stick out. And then you're going to roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it. And then you get down here to your strings, right? We rolled it up. It's kind of all squished looking, right? Now take your string, put your finger right here at the end and cinch in those strings. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. And there's your little rose, right? You can play with it and form it a little more. I have some already pre-made for you, but here's a little rose. And I'm going to do that again because some people will ask, you know, hey, could you show me that one more time? And I have decoration ideas for these too. So anyway, you take your tea bag, just as it comes, take your fingers and put your I've got 2 fingers in each side of it, and I'm just kind of squishing it down there. Then tuck in your little corners, right? These little corners that stick out, just tuck them in as best as you can. Kind of push it into the center. Get it kind of like this so it's flat. It's all crinkled up, and now you want to cinch the strings. So just pull them together. It doesn't have to be pulled, you know, you can adjust the size of your rose by tightening your strings. And then from there, you can do some shaping. You can make it more of a center in the center. And so you're like, oh, that doesn't really look like a rose. But what if, so here are some that I already made, right? These are the 2 that we just made, but here are some I already made. So what if you took 3 of these little roses and you left the strings on, and you could use the strings as like the little stems going down the side of a page or even on the front cover of a book. They squish down pretty flat. Like they look puffy now, but they are pretty flat when they need to be. And you could take something like these old like mother of pearl buttons or whatever. That one's kind of big, and you could put those in there, right? I have some here that are a little bit more grungy. So you could put maybe gemstones or maybe those little Nouveau drop things, but you could just decorate the center of them, and they do squish down fairly flat, right? So you could do that with them. Here's one where I've inked it, and I've just inked it with a little bit of tattered rose and a little blending brush, and I just made my rose and then kind of went around and inked it just to give it a little bit of color. And maybe, you know, you put like the mother of pearl button inside of the center of that one, right? So those are the little flowers, the little roses, whatever. You could put little appliques, you could put lace, you could do whatever you wanted to do with them. You could make them any color. They don't have to be roses. You could shape them into little petals and do a different flower. But anyway, that's one idea for rose flowers. Now you're like, okay, well, you said something about yo-yos. So when you make the rose, right, when you make the rose and you cinch up the tea bag opening, it does create a yo-yo in the back. So if you've ever seen a quilt yo-yo, it looks just like this. So you end up with the little yo-yo circle closure in the back. And so all of them will be able to be cinched up into that little yo-yo puff shape. Like it's called a Suffolk puff in the UK, I believe, or even here. It's called a Suffolk puff. Hard for me to say. But when you cinch them up, the back side of your flower would be the little closure there. And that's what makes it into a yo-yo. So you could tie this off, cut the strings, and then you would use these as yo-yos on a quilt page. So there's some simple ideas with just those. That was a side project. Back to these. So how we're going to use these after you stamp your images. Let's go ahead. I've got some bases prepped here, and I'll show you how I made the bases because I try to keep these videos very short. These are coffee dyed 12 by 12 paper that I've cut to 3.5 by 5 and 3.5 by 6. And that's just because the tea bags that I'm linking for you guys, they're 3 by 4. So I want a little bit of the cardstock showing underneath, and you also see that I've put some papers on the cardstock. So first thing, cut up your 12 by 12 coffee dyed cardstock or whatever you're using. If it's 12 by 12, I got all these pieces from 112 by 12, and I cut them to 3.5 wide by 5 and 3.5 by 6. Okay, so then I took some old rag paper book page and I just tore around the parts that I wanted. So I've got that little torn edge, some music paper, dictionary. I went sideways with some, kept most of them up and down. But anyway, so that's my prepared bases. And another idea is, you know, you really do need to take one day a week and just make bases because something like this, if you had this in your stash box, you could make these in a matter of seconds into a piece of ephemera. Have you ever made a junk journal and you find one more page that needs something, a pocket that you don't have something made for? You know how hard it is to get all the supplies back out to make one tag or one journal card? Don't do that. Make a bunch of bases just like these, keep them off to the side. And from here, all it takes is a focal point and maybe a label and you're good to go. These could be turned sideways and they could become pockets if you wanted to. So keep a bunch of pre-made bases like this on hand. Today, we're going to take the focal points that we stamped and some of the backgrounds and we're going to layer them up and make them. So first things first, we have this guy here. I haven't planned any of this. It's just going to happen how it's going to happen. We had this one on it just a minute ago. And even though I left all of mine basically square edged, you could go in and rough tear these tea bags if you wanted to. But because I have rough torn background paper, I'm going to leave these straight. I like to do it where it's straight, torn, straight, but you do you. This is just my preferred way. So then you're like, okay, well, how do you stick them down? If they're so thin and they're coffee filter like or tissue paper, how do you stick them down? You're going to stick them down the same way you would stick anything else down. You're going to glue stick it. You could use a wet glue like a Mod Podge or something like that if you wanted to. So you're the same way that you use glue stick on napkin, you can use it here. And so just be obviously a little careful, right? You don't want to tear it. I've got 2 layers down here in that bottom corner, but get it stuck with some glue, right? And then stick it down onto your base. The other way is add your glue stick to your base, which is my preferred method, and then put your little tea bag over the top. So there's that. Get it stuck on there. Now my glue stick is blue. It dries clear, so don't worry about that. It'll be dry here in just a second. Let's go ahead and get some of these glued on. Now, for this one, we could use a focal point. We could go ahead and just put a focal point right on there. So maybe we have this lady, and for this one, I just didn't want the string, so I pulled that off. Maybe we put the lady on there. If we didn't want the lady, we could do Eiffel Tower on there. The Eiffel looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and do Eiffel. Now for this one, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to add glue stick down the center, out of the edge, and I just made a general shape. It doesn't matter. It's just a general shape. I'm going to stick that one right on there. And I'm going to wait for that to dry for a few minutes, right? I'm going to wait for it to dry. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to tear off any of this tea bag that doesn't have glue behind it. So when you just make your glue shape, whatever is touching glue is going to stay. Whatever isn't touching glue is going to rip off. But you do want to wait for it to dry before you peel it. So there's that one. Let's go ahead and find a longer image. There's some dress forms somewhere I'm looking for. This is a linear image. Let's see about putting that one on there. That's okay. What else do we have? We have these roses. Let's see about these roses. The roses are better. Okay, so roses are better. I'm going to scoot these down just so you can kind of see me dig through them because there is a lot of them there. All right, so we're going to use this one. I'm going to do the tear off method because I don't really need this harsh edge up here and here. I'm going to tear this off. So again, what I'm going to do is I've put it on there and I can kind of see where I want my glue, right? And so I'm just going to put the glue there. And if you glue over, it doesn't matter, right? The glue is going to dry clear. It's not going to impede anything. It's not going to be weird later. It's all good. So I've got it down. And I'm going to wait for that to dry for a few minutes, and then I'm going to peel that off. Okay, let's do another one here. I've got some tall tag-shaped ones, and I've got some journal card ones. Let's go to the journal card. Here's a journal card. So for that one, let's get butterflies. Let's do butterflies. So when you have the background ones, I'm going to add another layer for a focal point. This one I'm going to do just as this, but then we're going to put backgrounds on the rest and we'll put a focal point. Okay, so this one I want stuck down all the way basically. Going to just add my glue stick. I'm not going to do any peeling on this one. It's just going to be stuck. There it is. There's my tea bag and we're good to go. I will finish decorating these with you guys too. So for this one, we could do a background and then a focal point. Now, I don't know if I want typography on there or not. And you'll notice that whenever you're using the tea bag, part of the fun of the tea bag is that whatever you have behind it, whether it's book page or music or whatever, you can see behind it. And you'll even see that more when your glue dries. If you've ever purchased onion skin page packs, you could also stamp on the onion skin pages and do this exact method that I'm doing today without the tea bags if you use the onion skin. Onion skin is a see-through material, much like these tea bags. So we're actually going to go with this one. I think it just looks a little bit better for what I want later. For a focal point, so I'm just going to glue this whole thing down. Now with these tea bags, if you get an area that doesn't get glue, it's all good. It doesn't matter. You're going to try to get it glued down all the way, but if something sticks up, that's okay. Why is it okay? Because you already have cardstock base and a background layer that is completely stuck. So if some of your little edges of your tea bag, like right here, are loose, totally fine. In fact, that is even a better look in my opinion. Now, if you don't like the completely squared edge, you could come in with your fingers and make that a little less square. Just kind of push it in from the edges with your fingers. You could also put this on where it is a little crinkled up. And so you can see even with the glue back there, it is starting to become more transparent. And so we're going to talk about ways of finishing these off too. So let's use, we haven't used Ledger yet. Let's use Ledger. So here's a ledgery background. This is the longest one. So let's use the longest one. And let's put the ledger on. You can see I definitely like adding my glue stick to my base instead of adding it directly on the tea bag. And it's because you don't have to be as careful, right? So there's that. As soon as you get some moisture back there, that tea bag, tissue paper, whatever you want to call it, starts to disappear. So that's just a base. We'll decorate that later. Now this one I want a focal point on. Did we do the rose? We did. We did not do the dress form that I can see. So let's do the dress form. Ooh, we have this one too, though. This one is a really pretty image. It would be better over music. Not right for this one, but we're going to do the dress form. So that's fine. And it took me all of probably 20 minutes to stamp those out onto the tea bags. And then after I've got them on the tea bags, it's just a matter of seconds probably to glue them on. This is a very quick project. You'll make a bunch of these all at once in a mass make. So for this one, because it's sewing related, right, a dress form, I'm going to leave the string in here and maybe we do something fun with that later. But let's go ahead and move on to decorating these all up. I do have focal points. Other than these focal points, I have other focal points. And I did want to stamp one more image with you guys. This guy is a rooster, and I'm going to stamp him on a tea bag because I have a farm journal. I have 3 farm journals. Well, they're French country. French country / farm journals. And so I think this rooster, I'm going complete old school here. This is a rooster stamp from Stampabilities. I also have a background stamp over here that is chicken wire. Let's try using that. So I have chicken wire and I have a rooster. So side squirrel moment. Let's get some of this chicken wire in the background. No, really, really old school, like 1990s for this this background stamp of chicken wire. I don't know where I am there, but we're just going to get what we're going to get. Hopefully we get some. Yes, we did. So there's my chicken wire. Now I'm going to get this rooster as long as he is still wet. I live in Arizona. We're going to play dangerously and see if he is still wet. And it may be dry already. We're going to get that one down there. Yay! We have our chicken wire and our rooster. That's cool. All right, so I left it as a pocket for the moment. However, I think I want to go ahead and tear it. I would tear it before you stamp, just in case you rip your lovely stamped image, right? Which I was about to do. So there's that separated out. Now for this one, we could put it over top of one of the other images. It's going to bleed in too much. Okay, so I'm going to make a different base for this one, but just to show you, go old school, get out your rubber wood block stamps and play. Super cute. I'll definitely use this in the farm journal. Okay, finishing these off. Ooh, we're 23 minutes in. Got to be super fast at this point. Okay, so fast focal points, the botanist sticker anthology, again linked below in the description box. We're just going to come in here and we're going to pull some stickers quick and we're going to put some of those on. I need the medium one, which I've already used. We could use this one. I have the rose there. All right, let's find a sticker that will work quick. We need a long, tall sticker. This one right here will work for me. pull it out. Pull it. Very delicate, like kiss cut kind of stickers here. All right, I'm tearing it. There we go. Now, obviously, I probably would have rather pulled like, I would have rather pulled this guy right here. I reserve the right to change my mind a lot, apparently. So we're going to pull out a sticker, and that's what I'm going to use for a focal point for one of these bases that doesn't already have a focal point on it. There's that. We're going to use this one right here. You're going to add some glue underneath your sticker, and I'm just looking to see how much of this sticker I actually want. I'm going to trim off this little section right in here. I'm just going to trim around it. There we go. I just didn't need all that sticker up there. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to add a little glue. I like to glue down stickers in my journals because I don't ever want them to come up. So we're just going to add a little glue, stick that down. This is kind of too big of a sticker, but it works. It kind of sort of works. Trim off the excess. Had I had time, I would have pulled probably a smaller. I felt like the first one I pulled was too small and the next one was too big. Okay, so then we're going to decorate. I've got labels. We're going to ink this. Ooh, apparently I've recently inked this ink pad. That's okay, because this one's going in a botanical journal. And so we can just pretend like this tag was out in the garden and it got just a little grungy, a little dirt on it, whatever. You can see it's not really sticking at the moment either. I'll fix that. But there's that one. And then we're going to add a little label. For labels, some of my favorite quick little labels are these from Holtz. They're called number strips. And so we're going to pull anything that looks like it could go in here. This one's actually a math one. It's an algebra formula, something like this. And we're going to ink that, and we're going to get our art glitter so I can glue this down. And we're going to decorate up the other ones. I will do it as fast as I can. Yeah, apparently these stickers you should probably use art glitter on because the glue stick really did not want to hold that. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop art glitter underneath. Yeah. Art glitter to the rescue. So guess what, guys? Scrapbook Expo is coming to a city near me. It's coming to a city near you too. They do it every year. Now, I don't do traditional scrapbooking, but what I do is junk journal making. And they don't have a ton of junk journal related courses, whatever there. But my daughter and I go every year. We will be at Scrapbook Expo this year. And so that is coming on Friday of this week. So I'll be going there and I'll be telling you guys, reporting back, telling you all the things that they had or didn't have there. So there's that one. It's super simple, right? If you want to blend in some of this white, which I don't because I already have like coffee dyed paper back there in the background. I don't want to blend it in, but if you wanted to, you could. So that's very, very quick. Like this ephemera will literally take you seconds to fully decorate if you've got all your things out. So I'm just going to pull out some of these little labels so that we can play with them quick. Here's just like some numbers. We could do that down there. Maybe a postage stamp underneath of it. I do wish that they were inked already, but they're not. So I'll take that moment to ink it. I'm going to add some glue. Get that one on there. And I think we're going to do a postage stamp. So there's that one. And then postage stamp book. You could add Holtz paper dolls to these. Looking for something in the green family. This one right here works. You could add clusters over the top. Like if you've made a little cluster, you could add a cluster over the top. We're going to go right here. I want to go off the page. Yep, right there. Now this one needs inked around. I always lose everything during a video. This is my first video after a couple of weeks. I am back to doing 365 videos for the week, and I am probably going to be able to do 365 videos every day now going forward. So that's exciting. We'll see how that pans out. But there's a quick little one right now. I would add a little bit of other background stamping to this. I just don't have that done at the moment. But if you have a little script stamp, can I do that here momentarily? Let's do it. Where's the script stamp? Again, I say we're going to hurry and be quick about it. And then this is what happens. There is a little scripty stamp somewhere. This guy right here. So I can hit the scripty stamp and just get a little bit of it and touch. Yep. Touch. See how that kind of just like changes it a little? And I don't want it so much. Some faded to the background, some in the foreground. There we go. Okay, done. Now on to this one. This one needs a focal point, and it has to have a focal point that isn't tea bag, because it doesn't work when it's tea bag on tea bag. So again, fastest way to find a focal point is that one sticker that I already put back in here. Let's see what other stickers we have. So I'll close that before I get ink on everything. Ooh, and I left art glitter open. You know, for this one, can I get, it's too giant, but I really do love those stickers. I am going to use this one because I already pulled it out, and it'll save me the time of peeling out another one. Okay, and we learned that we need art glitter. Now, my book is one of the original books, and it's probably 4 years old. So maybe your stickers don't need as much glue as mine do. Don't know, but I bought it and I put it on a bookshelf. Sometimes we buy things and for whatever reason, we're just afraid to use them. I don't know what's up with that, but we all need to get better about using our things. So there's that one. See how it was a little too small and the other ones are a little too big? Not to worry, I'm going to adjust. Anytime that you have a smaller focal point, that just means you just need to add more things to it. Again, I can't get the inking. It's either all or nothing today. It's because I must have re-inked this ink pad recently. Okay, so I also could go in with a hole reinforcer right here and turn these into tags if I wanted to. Let's get a little label. Here's a cute little number label. That'll work. So this is like fast ephemera. Mass make, fast make, whatever. You probably can make 10 of these in, I would say, 40 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on how much organization you already had. Let's get a stamp for this one, and I think we're going to go with red stamps. Not pink, but red. Here's a beautiful red one. Let's use this guy. Sometimes I ink these, sometimes I don't. Generally, I do, but can we do it? We can. Yay. Okay. Well, sort of. All right. We're going to put this postage stamp. We're going to put this postage. I want it down here now. I do. I want it right under this little label that I already had on there. Not to worry. It's all good. I'm in fast mode, and in fast mode doesn't always work, right? All right, so there's that one. Now, I think this one would probably become a tag. I just like this one kind of cut like this with a little hole reinforcer there. But there's that one. Super, super simple, okay? Moving on, and I'll show you all of them again at the end. We need to do this rose one. Now, this one I do want to remain pretty basic, and we need to tear off the excess tea bag. This is one of the ones where I said we were going to leave it and tear it off. So the glue is mostly dry. You can see I've got excess tea bag here, and I'm just going to start pulling, and it's just going to tear off whatever is loose. And you want that little rough torn edge, right? I'm going to tear off that little corner right there. Perfect. All of this right here is just going to kind of rub up, and then you're going to pull it away. I've done this with napkins a lot, and with napkins it oftentimes looks like old worn torn wallpaper, and I like that look. So that just kind of gave us a better shape, right? It's not so square. Love that. However, we do need a little bit more embellishing, and I also would like to bring in the inking a little bit. Bringing in the inking is just shrinking down that white space that we need to fill in with another material. So I'll throw that in the trash can. Let's get some little label on this guy. I don't know if we want to go bold, but that's an option. I'm going to do this one. We have book page behind. It seems like it works. So we have everything very neutral here. It would be a good idea to turn this one into a tag if you felt like you wanted to, but I think we could turn this one also into a tag. Put your little hole reinforcer up there at the top. Now if you wanted to add color, you could certainly have stamped your tea bag in color if you wanted, but for me this is enough. You could add a stamp if you want to add a stamp. You could add a stamp. There are neutral stamps in here. There's some browns and some blacks. Let's do the brown one. Yeah, let's do the brown one. Let's warm it up with the brown one. And I'm just doing everything that I've got right here on my desk. Obviously, you guys, you know, you could use whatever to decorate these. Where I used stickers, you might put German scrap. If you recently got your order of German scrap from me, German scrap is a great way to add a focal point to the ones where you use the tea bag in the background. So there's that one. Super cute, simple. Again, I think it would be a great tag. So there's that. We have the sewing one and these two left. These ones need the tea bag ripped off. So I'm going to go ahead and I just pull it to where it's stuck with the glue, pull it and then tear it off. And you're going to put your thumb over your image just to make sure that you're not going to tear your image off. It doesn't tear your background paper or anything like that. It's just tearing that loose tea bag, and it is loose right there. I'll pull that back as much as I can, put my finger over my image, and just keep tearing. And it's just going to come off wherever it doesn't have glue behind it, and it leaves that lovely center focal point there. Pulling. There we go. There's my focal point. I love that. I think it looks almost like, you know how there's a watermark on an old book page, but we also have our focal point there. I think that's great. Okay. So we could certainly do that. That's fine. What else do we have? Example 3. We could add a little color. Let's add a little color. So this is like a little teal blue label. There's that one. I think I will go this way with it. That's great. Okay, now for here, I want an old postage stamp. I know that there is not the appropriate color teal blue. I don't know if I have it here either, but some of the old antique stamps, they're this perfect old teal blue. Like this one might work, but I think there is a better one in the other room, maybe. I have a purple. Well, anyway, some of the old ones have this lovely, lovely teal blue. I don't have any in here because they're my favorite and I use them all, but we're going to use this one for today. This is an antique stamp. Oftentimes you can find the old antique stamps at estate sales and stuff like that. I have them sometimes from time to time, but it's a good place to look at estate sales. So we're going to add that one there. And this could just be as simple as a little journal card. I want to ink this one lighter if I can. But a little journal card that you put in a little pocket or behind a belly band, something like that. So there's that guy. Okay, we've got 2 more images. This one is completely glued on. We need a focal point. Let me see what other kind of focal points I have because I don't want everything to be the same. So I do have some German scrap here. This would make a cute little farm journal card. Let's see what else we have. Ooh, I have this lovely rose. We're going to do the rose. Yeah, we're going to do the rose there. It's kind of big, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it anyway. So it needs trimmed down just a little bit. So German scrap, you just cut them out of their little connector sheets. Again, it's like a million focal points that you don't have to do anything to get, right? They're just there, they're ready, and you can use them instantly. So trimmed off all my little connecty bits. And it also brings that little image down in size just a little. Okay, there's that. So for this one, we're just going to glue it on with some art glitter. You could use glue stick, but for speed, I'm just going to use art glitter. Going around the edge, and I'll show you all of them, and then we're wrapping up here just in a moment. I've got one left. There's that. That's going right on there. And you just get a hint of that tea bag back there behind it. Perfect. We'll ink this guy down. There's that. And that's what that one looks like. Okay, this is the last one that we have. I'm going to go ahead and ink it. Give myself a moment to think about what I would like here. Some maybe fabric sample, maybe a fabric backed label to bring in the sewing elements there. That might be kind of nice. You can ink your tea bag a little bit too. Kind of grunge it up a little. That's kind of nice. Just made it a little less, because we have so much white space there, a little less open. Let's go ahead and do a pattern number. That looks great. We'll pretend this is a pattern number for this, whatever they're going to make here. I don't know why I'm in story mode today. Get that glued on there. Oops. Still plenty of glue. Because I have a book page number up there at the top, I'm going to go on this side. I was going to put a stamp or something up here, but we've got a book page. I'm going to keep the book page number. Okay, next, what do we want to do? You know, I do have some buttons here, and you could do like a simple little a button arrangement down the side edge. It could be something like, do I have another button? I do. Could be something like this, where you just sew some buttons down the edge of your card, something like that, because it's a sewing related tag or journal card. So you could certainly put buttons on it. That's a great idea, and I would like to do that, but I don't have time on camera. So what else can we do? What else do we have to decorate this? Ooh, I saw it. Okay, we've got this German paper. It's a fabric measuring ribbon tape thing. I don't know. What do they call it? German paper measuring tape. And we're going to put a piece of it going down from the top of the card. So this is really a great way of stretching your design, because you bring the design all the way to the top of the journal card tag, whatever you're making. This ribbon, any ribbon, even washi tape, whatever, if you put it down from the top like I'm about to do, bring it down from the top, it's going to stretch out that design. So see, everything's down here right now. We're going to add this going down from the side edge over here, and that's just going to bring everything up. And I just wrapped the excess back over to the back. That just brings everything up, right? So now it goes this way instead of stopping right here. Super cute, but if you don't have this, just use washi tape. Washi tape works just fine. Straightening that out. And of course, I'll ink around the backs, but they're already coffee dyed. So there's that one. Could I still do my 3 little buttons? Yes, I could. Will I? Probably, because I really like that idea. I don't know where my other little button went, but I had another button over here. Right here, maybe. I don't know. But you certainly could sew some little buttons on there. I think that's super cute. I can't get them to lay perfectly because, you know, I'm holding it. But I think that's a super cute little sewing journal card tag, whatever you want to call it. That's where I'll leave us today. So I'm going to finish this one off like that. Here's this one. You could put postage stamp. We didn't do a label. You might add a little label. Can I find one in 2 seconds? You might add a little label down there. It needs inked around, but super cute, right? Here's the rest. We did this little one. Cute, very cute. And maybe for this one, you want a little lace tab at the top to pull it in and out of something. You could obviously add tabs for more decoration, lace or otherwise. This one is super simple. I want to cut it to a tag shape and put that hole reinforcer there. I could even use German measuring tape down the side of this one too. There's that one. Super simple. There's that one. We did a little background stamping. I could still go in and do that on some of them. And here's this one here. So very, very simple, super simple. But in just that little bit of time, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I thought we did something else, but maybe we didn't. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you guys, or you will see me again tomorrow. Should you choose to watch, and every day throughout the rest of this week. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.